The day my father chose my younger brother over me still plays in my mind like a bad movie. I can still smell the rich mahogany of the boardroom, feel the weight of the company reports in my hands, and hear the sharp edge in his voice as he destroyed everything I'd worked for. "Marcus, you're just not cut out for this." Those words hit me like bullets as I stood in front of the board, my quarterly presentation half finished. William has the killer instinct this company needs. William, my younger brother by 3 years, couldn't hide his smirk as he lounged in his leather chair. He'd been gunning for my position as CFO since the day he graduated business school. Never mind that I'd spent the last 8 years building Carter Industries from a regional player into a national powerhouse. "Dad," I started, gesturing to the projection screen where my new expansion strategy was displayed. "These numbers don't lie. We've seen a 40% growth under my financial direction dash." "Numbers," my father scoffed. "That's all you see. Spreadsheets and predictions. William understands people, understands risk. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty." Getting hands dirty. That was our family's code for William's way of doing business. The backdoor deals, the aggressive takeovers, the corners cut so sharp they could draw blood. I'd spent years trying to clean up his messes while maintaining our growth. "The board has made its decision," my father continued, not even looking at me now. "William will take over as CFO effective immediately. You can stay on as a junior analyst if you'd like." Junior analyst. 8 years of 60-hour weeks, my MBA from Wharton, and the company's most successful financial period, all reduced to an entry-level position. I looked around the boardroom at the faces I'd known since childhood. Uncle James avoided my eyes, suddenly fascinated by his coffee cup. Our family friend Thomas Peterson, who taught me to fish when I was 10, suddenly needed to check his phone. "I built this division," I said quietly, my voice steady despite the rage building inside me. "Everything we've achieved in the last 5 years was a team effort," William interrupted, standing up to pat my shoulder condescendingly. "Don't worry, big brother. I'll take good care of your department." I shrugged his hand off, looking directly at our father. Robert Carter, CEO of Carter Industries, self-made millionaire, and now the man who just betrayed his own son. "You'll regret this." He finally met my eyes, and for a moment I saw something flicker there, doubt? Fear? But it vanished as quickly as it came. "The only thing I regret is not making this change sooner. You're too soft for this business, Marcus. Always have been." I took off my company ID badge and placed it on the polished table. The sound it made, a small final click, seemed to echo through the silent room. Without another word, I walked out of Carter Industries for what I thought would be the last time. That night, as I sat in my apartment surrounded by industry reports and financial projections I'd spent months preparing, my phone buzzed constantly. Messages from colleagues, board members, even my mother, all expressing their sympathy, while carefully avoiding any criticism of the family's decision. But one message was different. It was from Sophia Chin, head of our biggest competitor, Stone River Capital. "Heard what happened? Your father's an idiot. Let's have coffee tomorrow." I stared at those words for a long time, thinking about everything I knew about Carter Industries. Every weakness, every vulnerability, every shortcut William had taken that I'd carefully documented. 8 years of institutional knowledge that was now walking out the door. The next morning, I met Sophia at a small cafe far from the financial district. She sat at a corner table, her sharp suit and sharper eyes marking her as the predator she was known to be in business circles. "Their loss is going to be someone else's gain," she said without preamble. "The question is, whose gain will it be?" I took a sip of my coffee, thinking about William's smirk, my father's dismissal, the board's silence. What did you have in mind? 5 years. That's how long it took for my plan to come full circle. I didn't just join Stone River Capital, I transformed it. Every trick, every strategy, every market advantage I'd developed at Carter Industries, I now used against them. But more importantly, I watched from afar as William's killer instinct slowly poisoned everything I'd built. First came the aggressive expansion, too much, too fast, funded by high-interest loans that any first-year analyst could tell you were unsustainable. Then the creative accounting that William had always been so proud of started drawing attention from regulators. Finally, the shortcuts and burned bridges came back to haunt them as suppliers and partners jumped ship. I built my own empire at Stone River, quietly acquiring key players in the industry, strengthening partnerships, and waiting for the moment I knew would come. When Carter Industries stock started its downward spiral, I was ready. The day their bankruptcy filing hit the news, I sat in my corner office at Stone River, now serving as its CEO, and watched my father's empire crumble on every financial network. My assistant walked in trying to hide a smile. "Sir, you have some visitors in the lobby. The Carter family." I glanced at the proposal sitting on my desk, a desperate plea for investment from Carter Industries, delivered this morning by courier. 5 years ago, I would have jumped at the chance to save my family's company. But I wasn't that person anymore. "Send them up," I said, turning to look out at the city skyline. "Let's see what the people who aren't cut out for this business have to say." The conference room felt different from this side of the table. My father, once the picture of corporate confidence, now looked every bit his 65 years. William's designer suit couldn't hide the dark circles under his eyes or the nervous twitch in his jaw. Even Uncle James, who'd always backed my father's every decision, seemed to have aged a decade in the past month. "Marcus," my father started, his voice lacking its usual authority. "Thank you for meeting with us." I didn't respond immediately, instead slowly opening their proposal. Every page told the story of William's mismanagement, toxic loans, failed acquisitions, burned bridges with suppliers. The company I'd helped build was now worth less than its office furniture. "40 million, I finally said, looking up. "That's what you need to avoid complete collapse." William leaned forward, his old smirk now replaced by desperate eagerness. "The company still has potential. We just need some breathing room to restructure. Breathing room." I cut him off, pulling out a folder of my own. "Like the breathing room you gave Anderson Supply after taking over? They were our biggest supplier for 20 years. Now they're exclusively contracted with Stone River." My father's face tightened. "You poached them." "No," I corrected him. "I offered them better terms and actually honored our agreements. Something William never understood the value of." I started laying out documents one by one. Peterson Manufacturing bankrupt after William's hostile takeover attempt. Reynolds Distribution dropped Carter Industries after William tried to strong-arm them into exclusive contracts. Shaw Technologies sued us for breach of contract. "Those were necessary business decisions," William protested, but his voice wavered. "Necessary?" I laughed, the sound sharp in the quiet room. "You burned every relationship I spent 8 years building. All because you thought being tough meant being ruthless." My father cleared his throat. "We've made mistakes, Marcus. We're here to make it right." "Make it right." I stood up, walking to the window. Below, the city stretched out, the same view I'd had from my old office at Carter Industries. "Like you made it right when you demoted me? When you told the entire board I wasn't cut out for business?" "I was wrong," he said quietly. I turned back to face them. "No, Dad. You weren't wrong. I wasn't cut out for your kind of business. The backstabbing, the shortcuts, the killer instinct you were so proud of? That was never me." I pressed a button on my desk phone. "Sandra, could you bring in the other proposal?" My assistant entered moments later with another document. I slid it across the table to my father. "What's this?" he asked, opening the folder. "Stone River's terms for acquiring Carter Industries." The room went deadly silent. William's face drained of color as he grabbed the document from our father's hands. "This is a hostile takeover," he sputtered. "You can't dash." "Actually, I can. Your creditors are calling in their loans. Your stock has dropped 80% in 3 months. You need 40 million to survive, but this." I tapped the proposal. "This values your company at barely 20 million. "Marcus, please," my father's voice cracked. "This company is our legacy." "Our legacy?" I pulled out one final document, the minutes from that board meeting 5 years ago. "You destroyed our legacy the moment you chose William's killer instinct over actual business sense." Uncle James spoke up for the first time. "We can fight this. The board won't approve. "The board doesn't have a choice," I cut in. "I've spent the last 5 years buying your debt, acquiring your partners, and watching you run this company into the ground. I own enough of your creditors to force this through." William stood up so quickly his chair toppled backward. "You planned this? All of it?" "No, William. You did this. Every rushed decision, every burned bridge, every shortcut, you did exactly what I knew you would do. I just made sure I was there to pick up the pieces." My father's hands trembled as he read through Stone River's proposal. "These terms, you'll strip the company bare. Like you stripped away everything I built? I sat back down, straightening my tie. The vote is scheduled for next week. You can accept Stone River's offer or you can declare bankruptcy. Either way, Carter Industries belongs to me now. Son, my father tried one last time. We're family. I thought back to that day in the boardroom, to all the years of watching William destroy what I'd built while my father praised his business acumen. Family. I pressed another button on my phone. Sandra, please escort the Carter family out. Dad, don't forget to leave your key card at reception. You're not cut out for this business anymore. They left in silence, defeated. Through my office windows, I watched them cross the street to where their driver waited, one of the few luxuries they could still afford, at least for now. My phone buzzed, a text from Sophia Chin. Heard the Carter meeting went well. Drinks to celebrate. I smiled, remembering our first meeting in that cafe 5 years ago. She'd seen the potential in me that my own family had missed. Now Stone River Capital was the industry leader, and I was no longer the soft-hearted son who couldn't make the tough calls. Sandra entered with the afternoon's contracts. Sir, the Carter Industries board is requesting an emergency meeting. Schedule it for tomorrow, I said, picking up my pen. And Sandra, have maintenance change the name on the Carter Industries building first thing Monday morning. To Stone River? No. I thought about the legacy my father was so worried about. Change it to Phoenix Industries. It's time for something new to rise from these ashes. That evening, as I worked late in my office, I received one final text from William. I hope you're happy. You've destroyed everything our father built. I looked out at the city lights, at the empire I'd built from the ruins of my father's betrayal, and typed back 3 words. No. I rebuilt it. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying what others have built. It's about building something better from the wreckage they left behind. My father had always said I wasn't cut out for the family business. He was right. I was cut out for something much bigger. The next morning, as I walked into the board meeting that would officially mark the end of Carter Industries, I passed the company's mission statement mounted on the wall. Building tomorrow's legacy today. By next week, those words would be gone, replaced by Phoenix Industries' new motto, Rising Higher. Sometimes I realized you have to lose everything to build something greater. My father had taught me that lesson, just not in the way he'd intended.